All right. We've watched this numerous times, but we're gonna watch it
Yeah.
again because it
Yeah.
just feels
No,
like it
I'll
holds up.
let's watch it.
It was so. I mean, just to start. Oh man, and right there, here's the cool thing. I'm gonna stop it right out of the gate.
All right.
It's just
Yeah.
like how incredible was this? Like the show started with zero introduction,
Uh-huh.
right? You just had the Rampage bumper that rolled,
Right.
and then they just went to the crowd, and it was just like they had. I mean, I guess did they introduce what was going on that night?
Yeah.
It was just like the default stuff, but
yeah.
there was really no, the first action item was just listening to the crowd chant.
Well, if you're let's just like if you're watching it on TV, that's the first thing. You saw the Rampage logo, and then it went right into the crowd chanting CM Punk.
Wow, I mean that's incredible, and like they didn't even have to say. And we've been listening to CM Punk chants for 7 years.
Yeah.
You know, whether they were hijacking a show, whether they were trolling Stephanie. So this was not anything that we're not used to at a wrestling show hearing a CM Punk chant.
Yeah, but I mean, I think that this is it reaches a new level because I think the CM Punk chant became the chant of I reject your wrestling content. I reject the wrestling you're giving me.
Yeah.
And I'm chanting CM Punk.
Yeah, it was basically the spirit of CM Punk of just like
And
this
now,
rebel.
after 7 years of CM Punk chants,
Yeah.
it's about to come to fruition. And
Yeah.
everyone knows it. Oh, everybody expects it. Everybody's ready.
The color gels changed to the CM Punk red,
Uh-huh.
and I feel like that's when you felt the simmer.
Uh-huh.
And then for Cult of Personality, they didn't do the the presidential speech and during these first few moments, they always had the static before
Yeah.
that, and as soon as that static hit, the people felt it like right there.
Oh my God. And just play it.
Yeah, let's just play it here. Unbelievable. And the crowd, look, yeah, the reaction of the guys like yelling, "Oh my God!"
You couldn't hear the music anymore.
No, the music was done.
Yeah.
At that point, the music was done, and everything that happened at that point, before he even walked out, it was just the roar just kept getting higher and
And
higher.
the announcers went quiet.
Oh yeah,
They didn't. They knew better than to jump in on this.
yeah, and I love that. Just to jump to, we talk about him on this show all the time. There's just Jim Cornette. That how Mike talked about this on our podcast of just like how great that JR was on the call.
Yeah.
But Jim Cornette was like, I guarantee you that Jim Ross was there with his hands over everybody saying, "Don't say anything.
Shut
don't
the
say
up, Excalibur."
Don't say a word. Don't say a word. Just let this happen." And so when he walked out and was on that stage, man, everybody was on their feet, and
Yeah.
he literally dropped to his knee. This is the part when he drops to his knees,
Yeah.
and he just looks up and just, man, that's what made it feel so real.
AEW's given us such great moments. I mean, this was just
Their best produced television they ever produced.
Yeah.
Hands down.
oh my God. TNT's got to be through the roof, man.
Oh yeah, because I mean, you can tell he was out of breath. He already started to tear up to know that it's just like I'm in my hometown, and I could look. There's got to be these guys that have this level of like I've been gone for 7 years. Am I going to get the pop
Right.
that you can return? And he got it in space. And granted, they stacked the deck to make sure he was going to get that by doing it in his hometown.
Yeah.
But I would challenge that this pop would have happened anywhere in the continental United States.
I think that's absolutely
I
right.
think they would have got the people who knew, but I
Well,
mean,
what was different about it? This was AEW's biggest crowd to date.
Yes.
he got the biggest crowd to date. So I mean, I can't even imagine.
yeah. So in their hometown and getting all the AEW faithful there
Yeah.
made it that they basically said, "Look, we'll get this pop in New York, we'll get this pop in LA. Let's make sure we're going to get the best possible pop we can,
Right.
and do it and bring wrestling back to the United Center." And we'll let it play here a little bit more. I mean, the crowd, those were like legit tears in his eyes, and that's what made the guys and the girls in the crowd were crying.
Yeah.
I mean, they were crying. This was like, was this Beatlemania? Like people were so fired up
This
for
is
it.
like it's like the return of I can't think of anything comparable really.
Like I was telling you earlier, it's just like the closest that I can compare it to, and it's different because I know wrestling is worked, but wrestling is real. This is CM Punk, it's Phil Brooks. Phil Brooks is CM Punk. But the closest I can compare it to the feeling I was getting is when, the end of that Mandalorian, when Luke Skywalker showed up, and I just like, and I didn't expect that either, and I stood up and I got chills and I started pacing. But the difference was, you didn't have a bunch of rebels on the side like cheering and screaming and feeding off that energy, which is what's great about the art of professional wrestling, is you're feeding off live audience, where that was taped, so you still got the special moment, but it felt more like a personalized special moment. But this was a special moment that we were sharing with the entire world.
Yeah, I tell you what, like I did happen to catch the media scrum after, which is a good watch.
I did watch that. Yeah, that was good.
And then CM Punk straight up called out Andy Kaufman, and that was the reason for the ice cream bars. That was the inspiration. But the way that he left and stayed gone was very Andy Kaufman-esque in itself. The way he sold himself leaving and sticking to it and never stepping in a ring for 7 years was part of what made this so huge.
Yeah.
And
I totally agree. He stuck to, that's why I mean, CM Punk is Phil Brooks. He's like, I'm not going to sell out my values anymore. You guys, you've taken me down too many pegs, and I'm going to just go be me. And that really stood him up, because that's how you rally troops. That's how you rally. That's how you win wars. Yeah. When you have somebody that's ready to just like to die. He risked his entire career. He was ready to kill his career for his ideals.
And he's returning as a hero, having slayed the WWE Dragon. Yeah. Like, he beat them. He left on his own terms, came back on his own terms.
And people loved him for it.
To the same music, with the same name, with the same logo. Everything. He left and came back exactly at himself. And he beat Vince.
Yeah. He didn't have to say, this is my real name. This is just who he was. And then you can tell he got out of that moment and just like, okay, I got to get into CM Punk mode. And he stood up after he was just basically on his knees, and he started crying. But then he started hugging people. Yeah. And you can tell he was psyched. Like, he did the stage, right here, he's coming up after he hugged that guy in the crowd. He's like, I'm a stage dive. You make sure you catch me. Everything about this was real.
They could have played his music twice, and it would have kept going, Yeah. Just looped it.
Cornette brought that up. It's just like, this was so over that it's just like he used the whole segment. He ran out of music and like, we got to go to a commercial break, but stay there for 90 seconds and then he'll be in the ring. Yeah. And do that. And dude, you can tell like the person he was hugging, didn't want to let him go. Yeah. When he did the stage dive, there's the guy crying, the reaching out guy crying. That was just like, that was real. Yeah. Right. That was like, you've had those other moments, but a shocked Undertaker guy was up there, but this guy reaching and crying, like reaching through the screen, he was like everybody else. Yeah. The crowd didn't want to let him go. And then he's like, let me go so I can go to the ring and everybody else can do it. And this is a Chicago crowd that was utterly, utterly respectful for the magic of this moment. Because they could have been a rowdy crowd. They could have just like, they could have did whatever they want, and he was the maestro here without trying, of controlling a very normally rowdy crowd. They gave him exactly what they wanted, and there's a hug for Frank the Clown, Mick Foley's future son-in-law that's gonna marry. He actually gave him a shout out too. But dude, this was just such a moment. This brought out the fan in everybody. It didn't matter if you were in the business. Taz was like, I got chills, boys. JR. Everybody at this moment was a fan. Yeah. I'm guarantee you, they said it was a sold out in the back of everybody watching this moment. Sure. And I guarantee you at SmackDown, one of the monitors, I don't care if it was on somebody's YouTube TV, that was a sold out phone, sold out monitor. That's what they call it, right? When someone's having a great match, like that was a sellout at the monitor. Everybody wants that. Every wrestler was a fan at this moment. Now, whether it brought out, jealousy, whether it brought out professional jealousy, whether it brought out, competitiveness, this brought out the fans and everybody.
Yeah. Well, I hope the writers saw it.
Okay. I hope
the writers were at the monitor.
Oh, yeah. Because we talked about this. They got the chant going again. I got to let this play a little bit more. Yeah, he just went through the whole crowd and just hugging it out with everybody. And again, that's what just feels so real. And it was just what was great to see him win back his fandom.
Yeah.
Because they basically, sports entertainment took away his dream.
Yeah.
Right? And I feel like this night he was healed and he won back his dream. He got that back in a hard-fought custody battle. He got his love for this business back, and the fans are going to be the winners of this.
Yeah.
I saw a few tweets that are just like, and the winners were the fans, and I think that's right.
Yeah.
Even if WWE, they are going to be forced to try things that they wouldn't have tried if it wasn't for this moment, and whether they want to admit it or not.
Yeah.
Some stuff happened at SummerSlam that was a direct answer to this.
I think the folks that have been in this for the long haul understand how special it is right now, because I was just telling you the other day, there's a pay-per-view 2 weeks away, and I'm legit excited for it.
Oh yeah,
It's still 2 more weeks, and there's two more Dynamites, 2 more Rampages before that
to come up.
But I can't wait for that pay-per-view.
Oh yeah, there's going to be some super excitement around that pay-per-view. I mean, and just like, all the Dynamite, there's going to be a lot of shine on CM Punk for a long time. And if Chris Jericho really takes a break, if Cody takes a break, it's going to be CM Punk carrying this banner. And I think this crowd goes to show, because now we just saw Chicago react to seeing him live, and everybody reacted. When CM Punk, if he goes any building he goes to now it becomes an event.
Right.
They sold out Milwaukee because CM Punk's going to be there. Anywhere he goes that CM Punk's going to be there.
And anybody he works with is an event. That's huge.
Oh, yeah.
No one's ever seen that before. There's so many new matches there.
Gonna get the rub.
Yeah.
Darby got the rub. I mean, they said Britt Baker legit got a pop because, again, we talked about this earlier when just like, there's people like Booker T that can get themselves over, but they don't necessarily get other people over. And I don't care what anyone says. How generous was it, CM Punk, that in his moment, and it was all about him, and he's like, you guys know how to make a kid feel like Britt Baker in Pittsburgh. He put Britt Baker over in this moment.
Yep.
That's getting other people over. That's not like, let me get my shit in. No, this was him. I'm going to get all these people over because he's clearly been watching the product, and he respects it enough that he's going to get other people over. This was his moment. Make no mistake, this was his moment. And he was working on getting people over already. That's a great sign.
And it just says, I'm here to do business,
Yeah.
What a great morale booster.
Oh, man. And it's just like everybody's going to be loving that. Because, look, there's that part of me that wanted to see, like, now it's just like, well, bring your wife, AJ. She should be there. Have her in the front crowd. I was like, no, that he'll use another time to get her over now, right? To bring her in. This was his time, and he's going to start getting the people already there over. Yeah. But man, I'm already ready for an AJ Lee Britt Baker pay-per-view match. That's a main event, and I'm ready to see it already.
Yeah.
But like, we're still enjoying this Punk, and like you said, Punk versus Penta, Punk versus Cassidy, Punk versus Darby. I mean, we already have these.
It's like
matches.
I said, it could be Punk versus Evil Uno, and I'm so in on that. Yeah.
Yeah, because everything is going to get over. It's just because CM Punk is real, and everything he's going to make everything feel more special. Everything's going to be elevated. Just he's taking the stardom that he did get. That you can argue that he said, I grabbed so many brass rings, I realized they didn't exist. But when he lit the pipe bomb, and that pipe bomb, that's when he hit that superstardom. And Cena. I'll argue this. Cena knows how to get people. He knows how to get people over. For so many years, people were putting Cena over in a Super Cena, and they were tired of winning.
Yeah.
He knows how to help people get over, and he saw that steam on Punk, and he's like, I want to work. And that helped get him over. Punk's going to return that favor now.
Yeah.
And all that stardom that started with the pipe bomb and taking the belt from Cena and leaving the company. He's going to start doing that for AEW, guys.
Yeah.
This is an exciting period for AEW that, like you said, even Jim Cornette, who's just normally AEW jaded, he was just like, the first thing he said was like, well, this not exactly how I would have did it, but they did it better. Like, that's just goes to show you should be listening to what he said, because he's not just saying it for the sake of saying it, but at the same time, he wins all these veterans over.
Yeah.
It was an incredible moment. Like, I'm very animated right now because I still feel it. A week later, I still feel it. So it's an exciting time for AEW.
Definitely.
There's going to be a lot of sellouts.